Okay, so today we're going to try something a little different.
Right.
We are going to try to take a deep dive into how you can learn English from movies.
Right.
Which sounds a lot more fun than
Definitely.
cracking open the textbook.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think about that? You think that watching movies can really help?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's such a natural way to learn a language.
Right.
When you think about how we all learned our native languages,
Right.
we didn't start with, grammar books and dictionaries.
Yeah.
We were immersed in the language.
Yeah, we just absorbed it.
Exactly, through hearing it spoken around us.
Right.
And that's exactly what movies allow you to do.
Yeah.
They provide this immersive environment where you're exposed to real, authentic English.
And so when we say authentic English, what do we mean by that? Because
Yeah.
there's lots of different types of English.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, the English you might find in a textbook or a formal lesson can be quite different from how people actually speak in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
You think about slang,
Yeah.
idioms, all those little nuances of language
Yeah.
that you really only pick up through exposure.
So it's like you're not going to learn,
Yeah.
yo, what's up, from a textbook.
Exactly. You're going to learn that from watching a movie or
Yeah.
hanging out with native speakers.
Right.
So movies can bridge that gap.
Yeah, and it's not just about the vocabulary. It's the delivery, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's how you say it.
Yeah.
It's the pronunciation,
Yeah.
the intonation, the rhythm,
Yeah.
the pauses, the emphasis.
The music of the language.
Exactly. The music of the language.
So how much do you think that matters?
Oh, it matters tremendously because you can know all the right words.
Yeah.
But if you're not pronouncing them correctly or using the correct intonation,
Right.
it can be difficult for people to understand you.
Mm-hmm.
And it can also make you sound unnatural or even robotic.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
It's like, if you think about someone trying to sing a song, but they're not hitting the right notes,
Yeah.
it just doesn't sound quite right.
Right.
It's the same with language.
Yeah, it's off. It just doesn't sound quite right.
Yeah.
So we've got this like real world context. We've got natural pronunciation, intonation, rhythm.
Yeah.
What else is there? What other benefits are there?
Well, I think another really important benefit is the cultural immersion that movies offer.
Oh, yeah.
You're not just learning the language, you're learning about the culture
Right.
that the language is spoken in. So you're picking up on things like customs, traditions, humor,
Oh, yeah.
social norms, all of those things
Yeah.
that contribute to a deeper understanding of the language. Like, you're not going to get that from a
Right.
textbook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it just adds another layer of richness to your learning experience.
And what's really interesting is you can even pick up on, like, the body language.
Exactly. Yeah, the nonverbal cues,
Yeah.
the gestures, the facial expressions.
Yeah, like how people interact with you.
All of those things contribute to communication. And you can learn a lot about that just by observing how people interact in movies.
Okay, so we've got real world context, natural pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, cultural immersion.
Right.
Is there anything else?
Well, I think the biggest benefit of all is that it's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Learning English through movies is enjoyable. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like work.
Right.
So you're more likely to stick with it.
And you retain the information better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you're enjoying something, you're more likely to remember it.
Right. And it's not just like some chore you have to do.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
something that you actually look forward to.
Okay, you've sold me.
Right.
I'm on board.
Good.
I want to learn English through movies.
Great.
How do I do it?
All right, so let's talk about some practical steps.
Okay.
First things first, you got to choose the right movie.
Okay. So how do I do that?
Well, first of all, think about your interests.
Okay.
What kind of movies do you enjoy watching? If you're into action movies, watch action movies.
Right.
If you're into romantic comedies,
Yeah.
watch romantic comedies.
If you're into documentaries,
you got it.
watch documentaries.
Exactly, because if you're interested in the content,
Yeah.
you're going to be more engaged and you're going to learn more.
Right. But I guess you also got to think about like
Yeah.
the level, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So if you're a beginner,
Yeah.
you might want to start with something a little bit simpler.
Okay.
Maybe an animated movie. Something with clear pronunciation.
Right.
Maybe a family film.
Okay.
Something that's not too complex. As you progress, you can move on to more challenging movies.
Okay. Like, yeah.
Fast talking.
Exactly. Fast talking.
Lots of slang.
Lots of slang, you know.
Okay, so I picked my movie.
All right.
Now what?
Now it's time to talk about subtitles.
Oh, subtitles. Yeah, everyone's got an opinion about subtitles.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Right.
Do you use them?
Yeah.
Don't you use them?
Yeah, what's the deal?
What's the best way to use them?
Yeah.
So here's my take.
Okay.
I think subtitles can be a really valuable tool, but it's important to use them strategically.
Okay.
So I would recommend a gradual approach.
Okay.
You could start by watching the movie with subtitles in your native language.
Okay.
That way you can just focus on understanding the plot and getting familiar with the story.
So don't worry too much about the language yet.
Exactly. Once you feel comfortable with that.
Yeah. You can switch to English subtitles.
Okay.
This is where the real learning starts to happen.
So I can see the words as I'm hearing them.
Exactly. You're connecting the spoken word with the written word.
Okay.
And you're starting to pick up on pronunciation patterns and spelling and things like that.
Okay.
And then the final stage, the ultimate challenge, is to watch the movie without any subtitles at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I know it sounds scary.
Yeah, that is.
But trust me, it's the best way to really test your listening comprehension skills and to force yourself to rely on context.
Okay. So subtitles can be helpful, but use them strategically.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Think of them as training wheels.
Yeah.
Eventually, you want to be able to ride a bike without them.
Okay, so I picked my movie. I'm using subtitles strategically. What's next?
Now, this is where the real fun begins.
Okay.
This is where you become an active learner.
All right.
You're not just passively watching the movie anymore.
Yeah.
You're engaging with a dialogue.
Okay, so how do I do that?
So here's what you do.
Okay.
You're watching the movie, and you hear a word or phrase that you don't understand.
Okay.
Or maybe you hear something that sounds interesting, or something that you want to learn how to say yourself. Hit that pause button.
Okay.
Rewind if you need to, and listen to that line again.
Okay.
Pay attention to how the actors are pronouncing the words.
Okay.
Their intonation, their rhythm.
Okay.
Then repeat the line out loud yourself.
So I'm like mimicking the actors.
Exactly. You're mimicking the actors.
Okay.
You're trying to imitate their pronunciation, their intonation, everything.
Sure. Okay.
This might feel a little silly at first, but it's a really effective way to improve your own pronunciation.
And then I guess I write down the words that I don't.
Exactly. Make a note of any new vocabulary.
Okay.
Look it up in a dictionary or online, and then try to use those words and phrases in your own sentences.
So I'm not just like passively learning them. I'm actually actively trying to use them.
You're making them your own.
Okay.
You're integrating them into your own vocabulary.
Okay, I like it.
All right, so far so good.
So far so good.
All right.
So we've talked about choosing the right movie, using subtitles strategically, and actively engaging with the dialogue.
Right.
Can you give me some examples of how this actually works in practice?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at some examples from popular movies that illustrate these concepts.
Right.
So one of my favorite examples is from the movie Forrest Gump.
Okay.
And there's this very famous line.
Yeah.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
It's a good line.
It's a great line.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect example of a metaphor, which is a figure of speech that compares two unlike things. In this case, life and a box of chocolates that convey a deeper meaning.
So it's not really about chocolate.
No, it's not really about chocolate.
It's about life.
It's about the unpredictability of life.
Yeah.
The fact that you never know what's going to happen next.
So by watching that movie and hearing that line, I can start to understand how metaphors are used in English.
Exactly. And you're also learning some vocabulary related to chocolates.
It's like a box of chocolates.
A box of chocolates, different types of chocolate.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you'll even learn about different flavors.
Right.
Things like that.
Okay, so that's a good example of a metaphor.
Yeah.
Do you have another example?
Sure. Let's take a look at a more contemporary example from the movie The Avengers.
Okay, I like The Avengers.
Yeah, it's a great movie. And there's this iconic line when Tony Stark reveals his identity as Iron Man.
Yeah.
He simply says, I am Iron Man.
It's a great line.
It's such a powerful line.
Yeah.
And it's a great example of how intonation and tone of voice can completely change the meaning of a sentence.
Right.
So if you just read those words on paper, they might not seem that impressive.
Yeah. I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man, yeah. But the way Robert Downey Jr. delivers that line with such confidence and conviction.
It gives me chills.
It gives you chills.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And that's what you can learn from watching movies.
Right.
You can learn how to deliver lines with the right intonation, the right tone of voice to convey the intended meaning.
And it's not just the voice, right? It's the whole...
That's the body language.
Yeah.
It's the facial expression.
The way he stands.
The way he stands, the look in his eyes.
Like the energy that he's giving off.
Exactly. All of that contributes to the impact of that line.
So those were great examples.
Yeah. Are there any other tips or tricks that we can use to really get the most out of it?
So here are a few bonus tips for you.
Okay.
One thing you can try is to watch scenes multiple times.
Okay.
So the first time you watch it, you're just getting the gist of the scene. But then the second or third time, you can really start to focus on the language.
Okay.
You can pick up on things that you might have missed the first time.
Like little details.
Exactly, little detail. Nuances of pronunciation, interesting vocabulary.
Yeah.
And the more you repeat it, the more it's going to stick in your brain.
Oh, yeah. Repetition. That makes sense.
Repetition is key.
Okay. What else?
Another fun thing you can try is to act out scenes yourself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so choose a scene with two characters, maybe a dialogue, and try to play both roles.
Okay.
So you're switching back and forth between the two characters.
Okay.
And you're really trying to embody their voices.
Okay, so...
I'm getting into character.
You're getting into character. You're using your body language, your facial expressions.
Yeah.
And you're really trying to deliver those lines with the same energy and emotion as the actors in the movie.
That sounds fun.
It is fun, and it's a great way to practice your speaking skills.
Yeah, and to kind of like loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, to become more comfortable with the language.
Okay, what else?
And the last tip I have for you
Okay.
is to find a movie buddy.
Ooh.
Yeah, find someone who's also learning English or even a native speaker.
Yeah.
And watch movies together.
Okay.
And then talk about them afterwards.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you could discuss the plot.
Yeah.
You can talk about the characters.
Yeah.
You can practice using the new vocabulary that you learned.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And it's just a fun way to socialize.
Yeah.
And to improve your English at the same time.
Yeah. So basically, movies are awesome.
Movies are awesome.
Learning English.
They're your secret weapon.
They're my secret weapon.
Yeah.
Okay. So to wrap things up, if you're serious about learning English and you want to have some fun while you're doing it,
absolutely,
put down the textbook for a bit.
Yeah.
Pick up a movie.
Grab some popcorn.
Grab some popcorn. Find a movie buddy.
Exactly.
And start learning.
And remember, it's not just about watching the movie.
Yeah.
It's about actively engaging with it.
Yeah.
Using the strategies that we've discussed.
Yeah.
And most importantly, have fun.
Right. And if you're watching a movie and you hear a line that really grabs you, or a word or phrase that you think is really interesting, take a moment to think about how it's different from the way you might say it.
Exactly.
Or the way you might have learned it in a textbook.
And think about why.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, this was awesome.
Yeah, this was fun.
This was a great deep dive.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.